from the beginning, Jake Paul connected well to give notice of a swing in this frenzied encounter. He meant business. With just 90 seconds remaining in round 5, Jake is in pursuit and looks for the finish. The crowd is, for sure, on the edge of its chair with tension mounting, waiting for what could be a defining moment in the career of Jake Paul. Here, Jake shows that he will stop at nothing to win as he remains focused, waiting for that telling blow. Well, the poker game of this face-off is on, in which Mike Tyson has already given an extremely fierce and ominous warning to Jake Paul. Mike Tyson is the name that spells power, dominance, and an indomitable will. But during his glittering career, scores of fighters have come and gone. Tyson's words carry a ring of experience, and the world of boxing listens when he speaks. His reputation as one of the most feared heavyweights in history isn't built upon his record alone, but on his no-nonsense approach towards the brutal reality of the sport. So, when Tyson spoke to Jake Paul's decision to fight Mike Perry, he didn't exactly provide casual commentary. He issued a serious warning. Tyson has never been one to mince words or couch his opinions in sugar. He made it clear Jake was getting into the ring with a man much more than just another opponent. Mike Perry was that kind of fighter who loved chaos, a man who just loved the brutality associated with bare-knuckle fighting, the king of violence. The intimidating words of Tyson did not seem to deter Jake from achieving his goal against Perry. From the very beginning, Jake had shown that he was not going to be the kind of opponent who would fold under intimidation and lose his game. Jake Paul stepped into the ring, his steely-eyed intensity speaking volumes about his commitment to the sport and the fight at hand. This, to Jake, wasn't just another bout, but a proving ground, a moment in time when he wanted to make his concrete mark in the world of boxing, especially with an opponent like Mike Perry. The moment he entered the ring, it was quite clear that Jake had done his bodybuilding, but at the same time, he had steeled himself mentally for the battle to be encountered. His carriage, his gaze, the intensity in his eyes, all betrayed the man on a mission, a man who knew that anything less than his best would fall short. As the fight wore on, it was abundantly clear this would not be a labor in vain for Jake. Since the bell had sounded to begin the bout, he had shown maturity and tactical insight many men accumulate after years of professional boxing. He moved purposefully, his footwork crisp and clean to stay out or press the action. His jabs were sharp, calculated, and delivered with a speed and power that was overwhelming to many onlookers. Few people could doubt that Jake hadn't just trained to survive in the ring with Perry, but to dominate him. Jake did not disappoint, not just to survive, but to defeat the king of violence in spectacular fashion. Opposed to a smaller opponent who put up little resistance early on, Jake Paul asserted his dominance from the beginning, and it would appear that Paul's superior size and strength would make quick work of Perry, with early knockdowns suggesting an easy path to victory. With every punch he had thrown, there was a message that he was in control, and for many spectators, it would be all over before the fight had really got underway. But it was what happened next that spoke reams about the remarkable resilience and toughness of Perry, traits which, undoubtedly, have defined his career both inside and outside the ring. A refusal to stay down against early knockdowns at a clear physical disadvantage, Mike Perry showed just how much grit and resilience he had. Every time he was getting up off the canvas, Perry proved not only his great physical endurance, but also the mental toughness and staunch resolution to keep fighting. It is this forging on, despite the pain and exhaustion, that changed this bout into a display of raw human spirit that saw the fight get much more spectacular. And Perry's performance, marked by his relentless drive to see him push through despite the odds, left an impression that shall stand long as testimony to the heart and courage that define great fighters. The persistence of Perry was aside from technique and strategy, but from heart, the type that cannot be measured on any scorecard. There were several moments during this fight when it seemed that the referee would get in the way to stop that, or this. Mike Perry was absorbing heavy hard shots from Jake Paul, and the relentless pace of the bout perhaps suggested that Perry was in over his head. Throughout the fight, there were several moments when it seemed like the referee might step in to halt the Mike. Perry was absorbing heavy blows from Jake Paul, and the relentless pace of the bout suggested that Perry might be in over his head. The place was at a moment of suspense as every great punch from Paul made a wave across the arena. Perry, to his part, was not the one to give up easily. Despite the barrage of hits and the patent telltale it had taken on him, Perry still managed to keep standing, refusing to surrender. Poor Mike Perry was just relentless in his resilience and determination to withstand this powerful offense from Jake Paul, but all those things came to naught as he succumbed to a humiliating defeat. Courageous attempts by Perry to rise each time he was knocked down, and a resolute determination to fight on were inadequate to overcome the overwhelming strength, precision, and tactical superiority of Paul. The fight wore on, and it became even clearer that, although game, Perry was simply outclassed, both physically and conceptually. Jake Paul's constant pressure, along with his well-executed and timely combinations, eventually took its toll on Perry and culminated in a resounding and humiliating defeat. A defeat that has been placed squarely at the feet of the cold, hard realities of the sport, by which little could be done at the end to make up for deficits in skills by Perry's indomitable spirit. Of course, the moment that happened, Mike Tyson didn't wait very long to make his intentions known. Legendary boxer and never one to back away from an opponent, it didn't take very long for him to make it clear he was ready to go against Jake Paul. Sending shockwaves across the boxing fraternity, Tyson went ahead to post a video of himself keenly watching the fight, analyzing every move, every punch, every moment of Paul's performance. This clearly showed the world, and more so Jake Paul, that Tyson was already gearing up for what was in store. In fact, well before the event with Mike Perry, Mike Tyson had said that he was looking forward to stepping into the ring with a young and hungry fighter like Jake Paul. Tyson, though a legendary fighter for years, was attracted by the idea of facing a rising star representative of the new generation of boxing. He had seen in Jake Paul not only a dangerous opponent, but an opportunity, a way to test his mettle against energy and excitement that he genuinely admired and respected in the vigor of youth. Tyson was excited to once again awaken his current state of being because, even in this respect, the competitive spirit inside wanted to prove that at his age too, he could go with the times against a younger and more ambitious fighter. That he was ready to meet the challenge head-on proved his fearlessness, and that he was prepared to meet what stood in his way, no matter how intimidating. All this anticipation and readiness with someone like Jake Paul, plus the added layer of intensity, had already served notice of the fact that Tyson is a force within the sport and never stops striving, even in the face of bad odds. Prompted as to whether he was scared, Tyson admitted that there was some kind of fear in him. In typical Tyson style, however, he quickly threw up the caveat that anything that scares him is something he confronts head-on. The legendary career of Mike Tyson has been built on his refusing to back down from any challenge, and his approach was no different in this fight. Throughout his storied history in the ring, Tyson has always taken on opponents of every caliber, from the most seasoned champions to the hungriest of up-and-comers, never once daunted by that which is daunting or unexpected. His mentality of fearlessness has been defining, whereby he goes into each and every fight with the same ferocity, irrespective of the risks or stake involved. Gearing up to go in against Jake Paul, that unshaken resolve of Tyson was for all to see again. He went into the fight with that same relentless spirit that had made him one of the most feared and respected fighters ever in the annals of boxing history. The fight with Tyson was the opportunity given to him to reaffirm his status as a warrior, one who has confronted every challenge thrown his way and has emerged victoriously, no matter how big an opponent may be. His intention to square up to any adversary, combined with an entrenched belief in never retreating, emphasized the intensity and seriousness of this encounter. The whole world was hyped about the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, which was expected to be a very huge fight. The excitement was palpable as social media platforms, YouTube in particular, were filled with comments ranging from intense enthusiasm to outright aggression from fans. Those fans who grew up watching the legendary knockouts of Tyson were more than eager to see the former heavy-duty champion return to the ring with the same ferocity that made him a household name. Some of the comments were so extreme that they bordered on outrageous. The number of such aggressive comments reached to an extent that YouTube had to intervene and remove some of them, citing that it was too mean for their site. As the date of the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson approached, expectations were high. Both the fighters knew the gravity of the situation, and it reflected in the intense way of preparation and a focused attitude. It would be a monumental event, live-streamed on Netflix into hundreds of millions of homes around the world. The scale of the audience simply added another layer of pressure and excitement to it all, knowing every moment would be seen by millions. And so, when the night finally came, Fans around the globe tuned in to see the good vs evil clash of the young upstart against the seasoned legend. It was a moment that would be remembered, a story to be told and retold for a lifetime. And as the dust finally settled, one thing became crystal clear. This fight was about more than just a fight. It was a fight that defined the sport of boxing, a moment that entrenched Jake Paul into the world of boxing, reigniting an inextinguishable fire within Mike Tyson's illustrious career.